I'm Ian Talbot, and I'm the Chief Executive of Chambers of Ireland, which is a body that oversees the work of Chambers of Commerce in every city and town across the Republic of Ireland. First of all, just to be clear about the geography of Ireland. Ireland is split into effectively two parts. We have 32 counties, we'll call them administrative areas in the country. 6 of those administrative areas form Northern Ireland, which is part of the United Kingdom. The other 26 form Ireland, or the Republic of Ireland for clarity, which is where we are now. And the members of the European Union at the moment are the United Kingdom, which includes Northern Ireland, and the Republic of Ireland. But what we have with Brexit approaching is that the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland are proposing to leave the European Union. So what that would mean in Ireland is that 26 counties, 26 of our geographic areas will remain in the European Union and 6 will be departing. In addition, the big island next door to us, which is England, Scotland and Wales, forms the rest of the United Kingdom, will also be leaving. And that's very challenging for us in Ireland because most of our products that leave Ireland going into Europe actually travel through Great Britain, England, Wales in particular, to get to the European continent. So it's a very important land bridge for us. And in addition, Ireland and the United Kingdom do a huge amount of trade with each other. We do about €1 billion in trade every week. So it's a very, very important partner. Ireland is not a big country, certainly by Chinese standards. We have a population of 4.8 million people. So €1 billion in trade a week is a lot of trade. And it's very well spread. There's a lot of Irish companies exporting to the United Kingdom, including Northern Ireland, and a lot of United Kingdom companies are exporting to us. So it's a very dual environment that we're operating. So the context of the meeting was now that it looks increasingly like, hopefully, we have a deal struck between Europe and the United Kingdom over the next few weeks on the future relationship between the United Kingdom and the European Union. We wanted to get together with the Chambers of Commerce in both Northern Ireland and Britain to sit down and say, what are the real implications of what's going to happen? Now, we're still uncertain what a deal might look like, but we wanted to sit down early and say, what's going to happen? How are we going to help our members to get through this period? And also, are there going to be areas where we're actually going to have to lobby either the European Union institutions and the Irish government or the UK government to say businesses desperately need help in areas such as, for example, customs, road freight, potentially thousands of different issues for what has been unrestricted trade within these two islands for hundreds of years. I think we're not even sure what all these issues are going to be. So the important thing was, the context of the meeting was to get the people in the room, say, right, we're the people that have to take responsibility for driving this forward, and we need to effectively have a long list of who do we need to talk to and what do we need to talk to them about. And we had a very productive meeting, and we found very quickly, as in anything you'd expect, 80% of things we knew and we had a good idea what to do, and there were 20% of things that one of the three of us had thought of, the other two hadn't, and that was interesting. And we also met a number of Irish government officials as well, particularly from the Department of Transport and Tourism, that were able to give us their guidance on the level of preparedness and readiness they have for engaging. And the reality is, as part of the negotiation process, it's been very clear for the government civil servants that they're not allowed to break out from the negotiation process taking place at EU level between, for example, Monsieur Barnier and the United Kingdom, but they have to wait until the deal is done before they can start to engage with their equivalent officials in the United Kingdom. Now, the great news is they know who to talk to and they know what to talk about, but they still need to talk. So it's really important that we get this deal struck in the next 4 to 6 weeks, that we understand the future relationship. The timescales depend on the deal, in effect. What we're hoping for at the moment is that a deal is struck for the European Union and the United Kingdom to agree the terms that Britain leaves. But also as part of that, that they will agree a transition period for a further 21 months after the exit date next March. So effectively taking us out to December 2020 when nothing changes. So that at least, if a deal is struck, that at least gives us a further 21 months to really work out the on the ground details and logistics. But if a deal isn't struck, we could find ourselves in less than 6 months' time with a myriad of issues trying to unravel 200 years of custom and practice in international trade in a few weeks. And it's just not possible. And the further question we all have to ask is, even if a deal is struck and we get the transition period after that where nothing changes, is that long enough? It may not be. But we need to get into that period so that we can really get down to the hard work of talking about the detail and addressing the detail rather than where we are at the moment, which is saying until we have a deal up here, we can't talk about the detail down here. We're very confident that there will be a deal. And our confidence is driven by the fact that all parties know that the consequences of not having a deal are just too nightmarish to deal with. So there has to be a deal. The challenge may be that in the nature of politics, it can often be the last minute before things are announced. So when is that last minute? Is it at the EU Council meeting next week? Is it at a potential EU Council meeting at the end of November? Is it at a Council meeting in December? It has to be before the 29th of March next year. And our recommendations to our businesses have been that they have to go through all aspects of their business, including their supply chain and their sales routes, and identify exposures they have to the United Kingdom. And that can come in an unexpected place. A big challenge, though, is it's easier for a large company to devote the resources to going through that sort of exercise. It's much harder for a smaller business to actually devote the time and the energy and the effort to go through all the potential consequences. So the next thing that many of our companies are doing, and it's much harder, you need to put more work and more time into it, but finding alternative markets. So they've been looking at the United Kingdom saying, yes, we do most of our trade with the United Kingdom. We need to look at alternative markets. So we can take the same product, adapt it, and sell it into an external market, or buy it from an external market. And that's where, again, the existence of free trade agreements between the EU and China, it's very important we have one of those. The issues will be similar, but the scale of the issue may be different. I think the rationale for the Chinese company based in Ireland needs to be looked at closely. And was their rationale when they established in Ireland to use Ireland as a base for dealing into Europe generally, or to use Ireland as a base, for example, for engaging with the United Kingdom and Ireland? And if you look at the population sizes, for example, which I think is always a good measure of the potential, the European Union at the moment, including the United Kingdom, has just over 500 million people, so 500 million people. The United Kingdom has about 68 million people. So when they leave, the European Union becomes about 450 million people. So it's still 7 times the size of the United Kingdom, so still great potential, but it's a little bit smaller. But I think most companies come here with a European Union perspective, looking to trade into the European Union widely, but it probably includes a large piece of trade into the United Kingdom. So I think our advice to Chinese companies would be just to, again, understand your supply chain and where your raw materials, for example, are coming from and how they're so it may be they're coming from France, which will still be part of the European Union, but they could well be passing through the United Kingdom. So does that mean there's going to be extra delays because it's going to have a customs check that's not there at the moment? Are they going to find that their containers are going to be searched and customs officials are going to take a day to look at it instead of 10 minutes, for example. This is all the things we don't know at the moment. Well, there's a few things there. As I mentioned earlier, we're a federation of chambers of commerce across the whole country. Now, two of our chambers, our two biggest cities, Dublin, already has a twinning relationship with Beijing. So it's working the trade missions every year between Dublin and Beijing. So there's a very strong relationship and a knowledge and awareness in Dublin Chamber of Commerce about working not just with Beijing companies, but also with Chinese rules and regulations and advantages and challenges and so on. In addition, Cork, which is our second biggest city, has the same relationship with Shanghai. So we already have on the ground detailed working relationships in our individual chambers and knowledge and awareness of the key important issues for Chinese companies. From a Chambers Ireland perspective, first of all, we try and help support our chambers in developing their knowledge and expertise. But also what we look to do is to, in particular, lobby government and educational institutions, for example, and local government as well as national government, about the key infrastructural things that we need for the future. So to make sure we've got the right roads, rail structures, airports, the importance of direct flights, for example. We now have Cathay Pacific flying directly to Hong Kong, for example, which is great. I think Hainan are flying directly to Beijing as well. That's great. It opens up trade, because if you can get a direct flight somewhere, it's easier, it's more attractive, and it also helps the tourism business both ways as well. And we've seen a 7% increase, for example, in tourism numbers from China last year. So that's good and gives us an opportunity as well from Ireland to get out to China. But education is a vital thing as well. Making sure we have the right schools and making sure we have the right colleges and universities, and also that they're focusing on the right subjects. So we're very focused on working with the education authorities to make sure we have a steady stream of highly skilled people in critical areas. So we're trying to make sure at a Chambers Ireland level that those macroeconomic issues are being dealt with, so that we have a steady stream of the right tools and resources available for any FDIs. We also, as you probably know, have the tax structure in Ireland of a 12.5% tax rate. I don't think that's important particularly to Chinese companies. I think what is important to them is knowing the certainty of a stable regime for taxation, and a lot of the time you will see the Irish government talking about the importance of stability, and stability in government and stability in our policies around encouragement of FDI.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time and